is gearing up for exams, then priority should be given for meeting his exam demands and other things. Whenever he is going for a major competition, his travel time, his preparation for the competition, those things need to be given more priority, and schedule smarter. So this scheduling smartly is also is very important, because that is what we are talking. Block time for study, practice, and chill. We need to give more time for all sports, academics, and we need to recoup and refresh ourselves also, and use planners apps. Like, there are a lot of options now. Google calendars are there, and all those things can be used. And we can the student needs to learn certain study tips. Like, when he is traveling for long, you should instead of wasting the time during travel and other things, they should learn, like, how we need to study during travel and other things. And it may be vice versa also. Whenever there is exams, how he needs to maintain his form, how he needs to continue his training, and we call active training, passive training. So how he needs to do the active training, how he needs to do the passive training, and other things. Listen to lectures and postcards while training also will help a lot. Now we need to set only thing. Making time management will not help us. We should set smaller goals and short-term goals and long-term goals both. If we are more professional, then we can set short-term goals, medium-term goals, and the long-term goals for both sports and academics. Both sports and academics. Just a minute. Okay. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಾರ್ಟ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಿ ಸರ್, ಇದೆ 3 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಈಗ ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗದಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಕುದುರೆ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಚಿತ್ರದುರ್ಗದ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಸರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಇದು 3 ಮಾಡಿಸಿದ್ರಿ, ಅವ್ರ 3 ವೀಕ್ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ 3 ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್. ಹೋಗಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ತಿರುಗಿ ಸರ್, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಆಗಿದೆ ಈ ಮಾಡಿಸೋದು ಸರ್. ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್. ಸರ್ ಸರ್ ಆ ಪ್ರೆಷರಿಗೆ ನಾವೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾವ ಸರ್? ನಾನು ಒಂದು 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ವಾಪಸ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಒಂದು ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಇರ್ತದೆ. Smart goals for student athletes is very important, and it should be specific, which defines clear objectives. It should be measurable, where we can track the progress, either it is grades or performance in sports, and it should be achievable. We should always set realistic goals. If we set which are unrealistic, and we will not meet any of the goals, and then we assume that we will be failures in the career, either it is in sports or in academics. And it should be relevant also. Align goals with values and priorities. That's what we should always value. We should give priority for both values and the need of the time, that is the priorities. And it should be time bound also. We should always set deadlines, like how a student needs to prepare for the semester exams, and at the end of the year, what should be his achievement at the end of the year in both academics and academics and sports also. Example, when it comes to academics, they should set a realistic, like, we cannot expect a 10 on a 10-point scale. We cannot expect a student to take 10 out of 10, but at least somewhere around 8, 8.5, 9 on his capacity of his performance in the academics. And similarly, vice versa in sports also. We cannot straight away keep a hope that he wins a gold medal at the national level, but initially and gradually things need to be stabilized, and it has to be, the goals need to be increased on priority. And quality, like participating in national competitions, then this goal should go to winning medals at the national level. Tips is, and some tips here, what we can take up is break big goals into smaller things. That's what we were talking like. We should have both smaller short-term goals, medium-term goals, and the long-term goals. And these tasks should be very manageable. And regularly review and adjust the goals. We should always keep it flexible where we can adjust the goals, because in between academics and sports, there might be some other issues also where the student is difficult to cope up with any of the thing. So then they need to readjust the goals and other things. And these things need to happen very professionally, because what we have seen is we get a lot of examples when you speak in sports. You speak about the good sportsmen, always they are good in studies also, except for one or two cases. We see like we talk about Anil Kumble, we talk about Jabal Srinath. All these are engineers. Basically, they are engineers. They have studied engineering and they are coped up with sports. They have excelled in sports. It goes like that because they were able to cope up both academics and sports in a bigger way. Now you need to create a ecosystem. That's what this topic speaks about. If a student needs to balance both sports and academics, then the student needs to have a very good ecosystem. Who are all the part of the ecosystem? One is the coaches, teachers, family, peers, all these people, peers, including their friends and other things. All these comprise and give a good ecosystem. If there is a lacuna in the ecosystem, or if there is a failure in the ecosystem, I think definitely then the student will definitely lag in either of the ones. So there should be a continuous follow up by the teachers and coaches with regarding to the training, performance, and other things, because the student might be mentally matured or not, because in the way of prioritizing and taking things very professionally. If he is not professional, then I think we as teachers and as coaches, we need to do some handholding and give more confidence, and each of them should specialize in it works like a F1 rally, if Formula 1 car race. It goes like that. Whenever it goes to the cockpit, everybody does their job. So all the four people stand at different places, and they remove all the four wheels, they join all the four wheels, fix it, and the driver drives it, starts driving. It is not that one person is removing the wheel and other is fixing slowly. It's not like that. So all the four wheels are removed simultaneously, fixed simultaneously, and things are happening very quickly within no time. Such ecosystem needs to be created around a student athlete. So here the coaches, teachers, especially the family, peers, everybody play a major role in building a support system. And very importantly, they need to find out where the resources can be tapped, because sometimes a student may need some sort of counseling for mental health, and they may need some study groups where the student is finding difficulties to study, because every student will not be good at both all science, maths, and social science. It needs some importance. Always it will be priority, even at the school level, college level. Every time, every student, whether it is a sportsman or a non-sportsman, as an academic student, as a student, they will always find some difficulty in any of the subjects. So, as a teacher, as a parent, somebody has to identify and tell like which is the difficult subject for him, and they have to identify, talk to him, identify, and see that more focus is given to make up in those papers or subjects, whatever we call. So once it is, they know how to make up, I think definitely they can go ahead without being a. What happens if we can balance all these things and create a very good ecosystem? Definitely, I think a student will always be in a win-win situation, because he is good in sports, he is good in academics. Many times, what happens is, if there are two students, example, if there is some interview or something, and if two students are secured 90%, then what they will calculate. The next one is what other additional qualifications they have, what additional achievements they have. This is what they look into. So in this situations, then if they have some additional, this might be related to NCC, this might be related to sports, this might be related to some other activity also. But uh, here we are talking about sports, and we see how a student can get benefited from both academics and student, and how sports, and how the balance will definitely help him. So better time management and organization, this is a life skill where the student is learning. Though he doesn't make his career in sports or anything, once he is into both sports and academics from his student life, I think he becomes a very good manager for his own body and mind, because he will know how to manage and how to give prioritized time, and how we can organize things with different aspects. How to get up in the morning, then what to do next, then how to prepare for school, how to cope up with academics, then plan for his training, go back, and again relax, and all these things, he becomes a best time manager. And enhanced physical and mental well-being is very much important, because in today's kids, what we are seeing is there is no coordination between the physical and mental well-being. Either they are good at physical well-being or at the mental well-being, but these student athletes will definitely be good in both the physical and mental well-being also. And this is a proven success, and many researchers have proved that students with a sports background are physically, mentally good and strong also, because they are exposed to the outside environment. They're exposed to the outside environment where they see a lot of crowds. They learn how to face competitions, and they learn how to cooperate with each others. When it is a team event, they learn how to cooperate with each others, and these are major life skills what a student needs to be talking. So they learn more of discipline and teamwork also. And the major thing is, the students, many of the students, those who are not into physical activities, we find that they are not able to balance their physical well-being, because uh, they might be studying well, but they may not eat good, because they'll not because their body is not stressed too much, so they don't eat good food in right time. Otherwise, what happens is they may eat good, and they're not able to digest, and they may become obese also. It leads to obesity also. So this major junk food what students are cultured now, and how they are getting addicted to this screens, this gets neutralized. This gets neutralized, and students become very successful, because mind is active, body is active, and always we call like sound mind in a sound body. So they achieve this goal at the initial level itself. And this helps on the long term. This helps to make a stronger resume. This definitely makes a stronger resume, and it also helps to get a lot of scholarships, career opportunities, sports careers, because there are a lot of vacancies coming up in sports, either it is in the defense sector, either it is in the public sector, either it is in the private sector. There is a lot of scope, and because now sports being a very big industry, and commercialization in sports is such big, we can see the IPLs going on, we can see the ICL going on. All these are all commercial and economic activities which have given boom for countries. Because without sports, we cannot imagine a few countries. We wouldn't have known a few name of the few countries without sports background also. We wouldn't have known a country called Kenya. We wouldn't have known a country called Zimbabwe, because there is so much of exposure in sports, and they all come and participate. Those countries are also getting so much of exposure. And now the challenges and solutions are very when there are time clashes between matches and exams. What has to do? We cannot leave just a student athlete. You decide on your own. Whatever you want to do, you do. We cannot tell like that. Here, as a parent, they need to approach the institution, see that if both competitions and exams are at the same time, then whether they can get a provision for special exams or whatever it is, then how to manage the time for competition and sports and the academic exams also. And very important is the burnout on the stress. Burnout and stress is very important aspect which needs to be managed, which needs to be manipulated, which needs to be brought to normal. And here they need lot of psychological counseling, physical counseling, physiological counseling. So all these needs to be done, and it is just like how we groom, they grow. If we live it, they definitely they cannot groom and grow. And balancing the expectations between the coaches and teachers. See, there should be an understanding between a coach and the teacher, and at least parents need to talk to both the coaches and the teachers and see that there is some coordination and correlation between the parent, between the coach and the teacher. It's a triangular thing which needs to happen because uh, the student is spending so much of time with the coach, so much of time with the teacher and the parent. So almost like it is divided between all the three. And if the three don't have a very good coordination and correlation, I think definitely it will impact on the performance of the student. And here they need to prepare a very good game plan. The communicative productivity between coaches and teachers. That's what we are talking. And prioritize self-care. Sleep and nutrition is also very important because you need to recoup our body, recoup our mind and body also, because body needs a lot of sleep. Otherwise we cannot recoup and work, and it needs nutrition also. So here we need a support like what the student has to eat, and how much he has to eat, when he has to eat, all this time, because many of the students we see now, they don't eat good food. They always stick on to junk food and other things, and which will not help us uh, body or mind to be very active, and seek help when needed, including counseling and tutors. And balancing sports and academics, if with the conclusion is balance is achievable with smart strategies. Balancing act is achievable with smart strategies. That is what we need to be very smart in balancing the entire outcome of the student. If we are not able to balance smartly, then I think definitely we will be put into deep trouble. And the support system and time management are key. The support system, the complete ecosystem, what we create around the student is very important, and the time management is a key factor. Sports plus academics is always gives a well-rounded success. And there are a lot of sportsmen. What we see today is they would have completed their undergraduation, they would have completed their post graduation. If they have a sports degree, I think they get placed very easily. They get placed very easily. Lot of students, lot of our students, lot of our sportsmen, they are getting a lot of opportunities. Post COVID, we have seen a lot of people getting opportunities in all the way. And identify the top three management tips, and talk to the coach and teacher about balancing the priorities. That's why as a parent, we should not just tell that I have paid the fees, you go to school, I have paid the fees, you go to training. If that is the case, I think definitely the student will not be able to decide. And at the end of the day, at the end of the year, we will not be finding any results either in sports or in the academics. So this needs to be on priority. And with this, I would like to end up my small session. Uh, but if we need to be successful, and if we need to achieve something out of both academics and sports, I think then we need to walk that extra mile with more ease. If we are not able to walk that extra mile with ease, if you walk that extra mile and become tired, your body is not listening to you, then it's of no use. So we should always be in a position that even after so much of training, even after so much of schooling, the student is able to recoup himself and work easily. In sports, we see like many of the students, after running a 400-meter race, they come and fall down. But a few those who are trained, they start walking, they start continuing, and they go back to in a very normal pace, and they recover very soon. If we are not trained properly, the recovery time is more, and they don't recover. And the same thing happens in sports also. If he has not spent much time on sports, then I think for him to go and understand things also would become difficulty. So here, the parent, the teacher needs to prioritize both sports and academics. And with this few words and with this small paper, I have taken up this topic because a lot of academicians, lot of parents are in a dilemma, like students cannot excel in both. Because we were all in the annual scheme and other things where students used to get a lot of time for both sports and academics. Now being into semester system, I think they are finding very less time, and they are trying to move away from professional sports and other things. But we should always see that if we don't inculcate physical habits from now, then the doctors will start us inculcating. After at the age of 25 or 30 itself, the doctors will start. You have to go for walk, you have to do physical activities and all these things. So the routine student life should have a very positive routine where both physical and mental activities are involved, and so that both sports and education academics are taken hand in hand. And with this few words, I can end up my, I think I'm ending up my session. And if there is a provision to open up for questions, can open up, or else I thank the body post college government first grade college Kadugudi for making me an opportunity to speak here. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you for informative session, sir. Now, open for interaction, discussions. Any questions, please ask.
Questions chat box with madam Vasanta madam.
Not audible. No?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, the team members who organized this program. It was a wonderful session, actually. This is Suja from GFGC Sagar. So, my concern is, as academicians, how do we recognize the real talents in the field of sports? That is my first question, because some of them don't come to us, or some of them don't speak up. So in that cases, how do we recognize them and give them the proper direction? So that is my first question. The second question is, sports, I think, plays a very important role, whether it is job, education, citizenship, or any other arena. So sports is very, very important. In my case also, in my PG, I got my admissions through sports quota, and today I'm in the government service mainly because of that. And I owe a lot of my regards and respect to the Department of Sports. So my second question is,
Okay, I'll just answer Madam's first question. How to do talent identification, or how to identify the talent. Talent identification doesn't happen at one particular avenue. There are a lot of avenues for talent identification. Either it might be sports, or it might be cultural, or other things. And in sports, usually we call it as uh, talent is inherited. So it comes from the genes, it comes from the blood. So usually many of the sportsmen are born and not made. That is the thing. So usually what happens is the talent identification either might be done at the school level, might be done at the college level, at the university level, or at the house level also, where the parents need to identify their talent. And initially, even in sports also, whenever we consider scientific way of sports talent identification, nowhere the child is pushed to a particular sport at a small age and tried. Always as a good talent identification scheme, what they do is they give basic importance to physical fitness, overall growth, and they give exposure to a few games where either it is the upper body involvement or the lower body involvement, and exposure is given to activities like various activities. And then slowly at the age of 12, 13, 14, they start deciding a game. But except for few games like gymnastics, swimming, and other things where the talent identification needs to be done at a very young age, like 3 to 4 years. Once the green bone developments stop, I think flexibility goes down, because as we talk about the physical fitness components of sports, whether it is speed, endurance, agility, strength, all these things are achievable and are increasable. But flexibility is one component in sports where things reduce always, even after lot of training, because we call it as green bones. Even if children, when they have a fall at the younger age, they don't easily get fractured. But later on, once the bone is matured, then it starts getting fractured. So this is a small concept I wanted to tell. But for activities like swimming, gymnastics, and other things, talent identification needs to be done at the age of 3, 4, 5. But for major other games, I think slowly they can start at 12, 13, 14, and then give more exposure and give ample time for students. And that needs to be managed when they come to the higher education institutions. But I was not able to listen to the other question of ma'am. If there is any questions, we can take it up.
Good evening, sir. There is a question in the chat box. As a mentor, how can I create? As a mentor, how can I create interest in sports among Muslim girl students?
Okay.
Nasrat Parveen has asked this question.
Yes. It's a very crucial question, but it is not an achievable target. Here, that's what I was meaning. Now, there is a lot of conscious and people are a lot of cautious also whenever it is sports and other things, because always there is something called religion, there is something called culture, tradition, and other things. See, and whichever religion we take, either it is any of the religions, they have their own culture, they have their own tradition, and they have their own style of living and other things. And some places it is orthodox, some places they are very open to everything. So here, first of all, parents need to decide that students have to be mentally perfect. And now, even after COVID, not only madam is asking about Muslim girls, but during COVID, what we have seen in the world is there was no opportunity for physical activities, going outside. There was no gym, there was no park, nothing. Everything started happening inside the house. So either it was low physical activities or yoga or such activities. So instead of talking of bigger sports or outdoor sports, parents can create interest in smaller games like chess, which needs more of mental power, mental ability, and other things, and small games like where they're not exposed to very much like games like table tennis. And there are now a lot of activities coming up, table tennis, shuttlecock. These are small area games where parents can give more expose to the female girls. And today, what we are seeing in the world is we have seen if Indian cricket team or Indian hockey team would be a perfect example. Either it is men or women team. See, we have players from all religions. Either it is a Christian, either it's a Muslim, either it is a Hindu. We have people from all the three religions. You take up a present cricket team in the Indian cricket team, either in the men's section or the women's section. We have people from all the three communities, all the 3, 4, 5 communities, whatever we call. So there is no bondages, or there is no particular frameworks where students need not to go on. And now academics, even in the institutions, are very much prioritizing sports. And there at the institutional level, they can participate definitely in sports and give more exposure for the students.
Thank you, sir. There is one more question in the chat box. What policies should colleges implement to support student athletes without compromising academic standards? The question is asked by Seema
Yes,
S.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Madam, definitely every institution, whether it is primary education or higher education, should have a small policy where they are encouraging. Let us not Okay, we can just talk like, if you take a small example, if there are two kids at home, you just try out one kid going for physical activity, coming back and consuming food, and the other kid without going to any physical activity comes back and eats food. See, you just imagine on a long run, you don't just try it for 1 day or 2 days, you try it for 3-4 days or a week. You will find that the difference between a student who is going for regular physical training, either it is sports, either it is fitness, gym, recreation, will consume more food. A student who is not going for activities will consume less food. So the parity starts from there. So every institution should make a good policy where there is lot of scope for physical activity in the way of sports or recreation. Sports always need not be a professional sport. Sports is, and parents, as teachers, we should not think that sports is very professional. He is going to play and he is not going to come back to class. It's not that. We need to give an overall development in the ecosystem where priority is given for both sports and academics, so that they can understand the need of sports and recreation. And now you can see the corporate people. You ask any of the corporate people, and if they are working in the companies for 4 to 5 days, every weekend they need some stress buster. They need some sort of stress buster. They go for a ride, they go for a hiking, they go for adventure activity, they go for trekking and other things. And even their companies will give lot of activities, like they have a gym, they have a fitness center where they go and stress out all their bus. If we don't allow to stress out, then definitely I think the students will mentally be very much disturbed in their careers.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, one more question is from Suja SB. Why can't we have sports counselors in GFGC colleges?
Definitely, our own faculty can become sports counselors, ma'am. Not only sports counselors, we need
Can
to be
Can I
a very
repeat
good
the
counselor.
question, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, they need not only be sports counselors. They need to be counselors who can counsel a student need-based. So as a teacher, they should be ready, like where a teacher stands, where a student stands, and what is the requirement of the student. If we are not able to know what is the need of a student, I think definitely as an institution we may fail. So if there is a student and if he is needing some sort of physical mental health being, then we should suggest him to do activities which helps him to come out of the stress. And thank you very much to Professor Ravi sir, who was principal JFGC Kadugudi, who was my colleague also. Thank you very much for making this opportunity, sir, Ravi sir.
Right?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
With this, we come to the end of today's session, today's program. I sincerely thank our respected resource person, Dr. Shrikant sir, for sharing such a valuable insights. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much.
I thank all dignitaries and organizers and participants for making this faculty development program a meaningful and successful event. Thank you all for your support and participation. Thank you one and all.
ಏನ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಹಳ ಸರ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಅವನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಶ್ರೀಕಾಂತ್ ನೆಟ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನೋಡಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಫೋಟೋ ಹೊಡೆದು ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಕಳ್ಸಾರ ನಿಮ್ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ನೋಡಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಕಳ್ಸಾರ.